Black Lives Matter, but what's a black life worth? We start thinking about and taking stock of what we have and appreciating it more. Because from that, we should start raising our expectations for ourselves and our family. We got to figure out how to move our money, millions individually, billions collectively, to empowering our community. This is about being conscious of where we spend our money, about who we spend it with and what we spend it on. It's time that we start making that income, protecting it, building it, leveraging it, and passing it on for the next generation. Let's change the financial future of Black America together. Good afternoon, BMe community. I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. I am Eugene Mitchell, and for the last 16 years, I've been a corporate executive leading 1,200 Black financial advisors around the country. I also want to note that prior to this job, I was a corrections officer for 4 years in Miami. The reason I start here is because through these experiences, I've become an extremely passionate advocate for legacy creation and wealth building in the Black community. I am all about financial literacy and making a difference, economic empowerment. As mentioned, I've now become called the man with the $50 billion plan. And that's because over the last 6 years, I myself and my team and those 1,200 Black agents have been on a charge to change what we started off as a vision into a mission to become a movement to create $50 billion of tax-free future income for the Black community. And what's most important for us in that is that it becomes sustainable and generational. You guys got me on that? And so for me tonight, I just want to touch on just a few secrets, financial secrets that I've realized that many of us in the Black community have not been taught, right? I'm going to ask you that you take on these concepts for yourself. And I ask that you join the movement to create $50 billion to change the financial future of our community. To get going, I want to acknowledge and say that I've been touched, moved, and inspired over this past several years by the Black Lives movement, Black Lives Matter movement. And that, as much as I agree that our lives matter, I think it's time that we move this conversation onto a deeper level. What I mean by that is that I ask that we take on and understand what a Black life is worth, okay? Because Black lives matter, but what's a Black life worth? Because when we don't know what we're worth to ourselves and those around us, we're probably gonna not make the best decisions. And we're not gonna have the highest expectations. You guys got where I'm going? And so where I wanna share is, from some of my own personal experiences in growing this concept and thought. For many years of my life as a Black man in America, I've not ever thought of or tried to calculate my value and my worth, right? And so for me, I realized that in most cases, I was misguided to believe that who I am and what defines me is either the job and the title that I have and or how I look, right? The clothes that I have on, the name brands that I'm trying to purchase, the car that I drive. Come on, ladies, the purse that we carry, right? The shoes that we wear, brothers, the sneakers. I mean, this even goes down to the liquor that we drink and the idea of what we can show. But what I realize is that that's become a plan and a pattern for the marketers coming after our 43 million Black folks around the country and our $1 trillion of earned income to help separate us from our money. See, we've become the world's greatest consumer. We are spending what we have to keep up with the latest fashions and trends to make somebody else rich, and none of that has anything to do with us. Nothing to do with our value and our worth. And so for me, the light bulb went on about this value and worth thing by accident at the company that I work at. And it's a life insurance company. After 2 years of being in the company and in this leadership development program, I was promoted to an assistant vice president. And I got a letter in the interoffice mail that said, "Congratulations on your promotion. as an appointive officer of the company, we want to take out $2.5 million on your life to benefit the retirement fund of the company. To which I said, hey? Huh? So I asked a bunch of folks, what is this about? And they said, well, this is common practice. I said, I've never heard it before. They said, you might have heard it in small companies, small businesses. They call it key man policies, right? So if anything happens to any of the key executives in the company, we take out policies so that there'll be enough money to tide the company over so that they can hire somebody in and they can transition without too much upset. I said, okay, I get that concept. And they say, well, they do that for big companies too. And as you move up through the ranks, now you're a junior executive, they'll start putting more benefits on you to also benefit themselves. This is how they fund the retirement. This is how they offset your salary. This is how they continue to build their directions for the company. I said, okay, I guess I get that conversation. But tell me where this $2.5 million came from. To which they said, well, that's what the company values you at. I said, eh? They said, well, that's what they said you're worth from the work that you do. And I said, I don't understand. They said, there's different ways to calculate your value and your worth. A simple way to do it is to take a current value of your future earnings. Here you are, 30 years old, making $100,000 a year. We expect you to work here for another 25 years at least, right? Till you're 55 years old. What's $100,000 a year for 25 years? $2.5 million. And they said that's without bonuses, without raises, without promotions, without anything in your deferred comp. That's just the base of what you make. What they see is that they're going to spend $2.5 million for you and your work over the next 25 years. And they said, what do you mean you've never thought about this? Have you never thought about protecting that for yourself? Have you never thought about sort of how you're going to invest that in the years to come? To which I said, no. Right? They said, more importantly, don't you have a life insurance policy for $2.5 million on yourself? To which I said, no. And they said, but why not? Here you are married with children. If you don't make it home tomorrow, do you realize that your family, your children will be out $2.5 million over the next 25 years? What are they going to do? What's your wife going to do to make up that shortfall? Right? Are they going to have to move out of their house? Are they going to have to sell their stuff? Is she going to have to find somebody else to take care of it? Do you understand where they were going with this? And it broke my heart because I had never thought about it. I'd never thought about sort of that transition and my value in that and what would happen if I wasn't there. And as the more I thought about it, it hurt me even deeper because what I recognized is that they saw me and valued me more than I valued myself. For me, all I thought I had in the world was $60,000 in student loans, right? I had a mortgage. I had bills, right? I thought, when I look at myself, I had a car with 189,000 miles. I'm trying to, not make car payments so I can put a little bit into my retirement. But nobody's looking at me and thinking I'm very flashy in my old car, right? But I said, to think about how they thought of me more than myself. It was amazing. And as I went in the years, it took me a long time to buy $2.5 million on myself. Because you know what? I didn't believe it. And as a black man in America, who else out there is telling me that I'm worth that much? That I'm a valuable asset to myself, my family, and for the job that I work at. Right? Isn't that scary to think about? But I'll say, but when I did have that policy and I started to think about it and I started to get more confident about who I am and what I stand for, I started to think about, what? What if I had something else worth $1 million? How would I take care of that thing? Right? So what if I had a car worth $1 million? Right? What would I do with that? I'd have make sure it had the alarm system. It was garage, right? I'd go to the mall and park it way out in the middle of nowhere so nobody could touch it, right? What if I had a house worth $1 million? I would have the burglar alarms, right? I'd have the fence around it. I may live in one of those communities with the guard at the front to make sure that my cousins can't come by, right? What if I had $1 million racehorse? Somebody gave me a $1 million racehorse that I thought I could make some money off of. How much and how would I take care of that thing, right? Or the opposite. Would I have it staying up late at night right? Drinking and smoking, eating fried food and not exercising, right? Not going to the vet on regular visits. But as I thought about it, you know what? I would take care of other things worth $1 million more than I do take care of myself. Isn't that stunning to think about, right? So what I realized that I had to do and think about beyond that then, how I would take care of myself better, I would start acting differently and better and more concerned in how I was operating to protect those millions going forward. Right? I might not participate in such risky behavior. You get where I'm going? So when the brother got on the bus one day and he was all agitated and upset and it looked like something was about to go down, you know what I did? I moved along because I realized that I got too much to lose now, considering myself to be $1 million asset, right? And then the more I thought about it, that if I am worth $2.5 million just from the work that I do, how should I think about my children? Because in their time, they're going to make millions too. And I've put in place now that they're going to inherit $2.5 million from me. Hopefully not too soon, but at some point in the future, right? But now it's doubly important for them to understand their value and their worth. And I'm going to take more interest in them because now I'm going to wonder, who are their friends, right? Where are they going to school? Who are they going to marry? It becomes more important now that I help them not only be set up by me, but they understand their own value and their own worth. And once they recognize who they are, they're less likely to put themselves into bad situations, right? To be in abusive relationships, to be victims of discrimination and the like. So they have options now because they have faith in themselves and they have a better pride in who they are and where they're going. And so where I'm going with this is that I'm going to ask each of you to consider this for yourselves, especially the young folks in the room. The young folks, as you graduate from school, thinking about, making $50,000 a year and doing that for the next 20 years. $50,000 a year for 20 years is $1 million. Some of you are out there making $100,000 a year. And if you're going to work for 30, 40 years, some of you, because of your age, that'll be $3-4 million. Some of us business owners, some of us in corporate positions might be making more than that. The point, though, is that we start thinking about and taking stock of what we have and appreciating it more. Because from that, we should start raising our expectations for ourselves and our family. You guys got where I'm going? But I feel it would be remiss if I didn't flip it to the negative side just for a quick second. Because what dawned on me is that, when another black man goes to jail, that's possibly $50,000 a year for 20 years that he and his family won't make, right? When you've got almost 1 million black men either in jail or in the prison or somewhere in the penal system that they can't get a decent job, that's 1 million black men not making $1 million over the next 20 years. Can you see the impact that has, the drain that has on our community? We got to wake up and realize how invaluable that we are. I'm going to bring it back to where we started in the beginning about this income as well. Because many of us out there, we're spending our money. We're trying to make it rain, but we've got nothing for a rainy day. He went there with her. Okay. We're out there trying to collect 400 pairs of shoes, ladies, or 400 sneakers, fellas, and we've got nothing in the 401k. Right? We're out here trying to accumulate and buy things instead of putting that into investments. We got to figure out how to move our money, millions individually, billions collectively, to empowering our community. You guys get where I'm going with this? This is about being conscious of where we spend our money, about who we spend it with and what we spend it on. It's time that we start making that income, protecting it, building it, leveraging it, and passing it on for the next generation. That's why over these last 20 years, this has become a calling for me to share the things that I've discovered in this industry and to bring it to folks who I don't think have heard it for the first time. What I'm doing when leading 1,200 black agents around the country, we're trying to bring financial literacy and these financial tools and strategies that we can collectively, like other folks have done for hundreds of years, build and empower our community. I'm going to invite you to join the movement with us. Let's create $50 billion And that way, then we can have financial stability, economic opportunity, and multi-generational wealth. Let's change the financial future of Black America together. Thank you.